was just thinking about how Christians who call other Christians out for not bearing fruit for the Lord are called fruit inspectors, and that being a fruit inspector is really a terrible thing when the Lord himself was a fruit inspector. And I know many might be thinking, well, he's the Lord. Jesus can call out anybody he wants. He should be the only fruit inspector. And I don't agree with that. And the reason for that is because there's many teachings in the New Testament where Jesus talked about being fruitful, and he warned against being fruitless. I think about how he cursed the fig tree on the way to the temple on the Monday of Passion Week. Think about John 15, when he was on his way to the Garden of Gethsemane with his disciples. And he talked about the importance of abiding in him, being fruitful for him, and that what's going to happen to the fruitless. That those branches, they're going to be chopped off and they're going to be thrown into the fire. I think about Matthew 7, when Jesus talks about being a good tree and a bad tree, the difference. Those that are good trees are rendered useful for the kingdom. What happens to a bad tree? A bad tree is cut down and is tossed into the fire. And I know some may be thinking, well, he was talking about the Pharisees and the scribes there. He was talking about false prophets and the wolves in sheep's clothing. And I want to say you're right. That is the context. But the reality is the message in Matthew 7, 21 through 23, which speaks of many who will come to the Lord at the end and say, Lord, Lord, I did this in your name. I did that in your name. He's going to say to them, depart from me, I never knew you. I don't think that Jesus was just talking about the Pharisees and the scribes there. I think he was talking about those who are fruitless branches. I think he's talking about those who proclaim a lot of things, who have God first in their IG bio. I think he's talking about those who attend church every Sunday. He's talking about those who tithe and go on mission trips. Those who wear the t-shirt that says I'm a Christian, yet they wouldn't know Jesus if Jesus stood right next to them. See, it's about knowing Jesus. The word know is this Greek word gnosko. This refers to an intimacy, and it's out of that intimacy that those will do the will of the Father. This has nothing to do with proclamation. This has nothing to do with going to church on Sunday. This has nothing to do with quoting a Bible verse. This has everything to do with a deep intimacy with Jesus. It's about knowing Jesus. It's about abiding in Jesus. It's about being a genuine and authentic follower. And so when someone comes along and says, hey, examine yourself, test yourself, they're called a fruit inspector. When someone comes along and challenges you to take inventory, they're called a fruit inspector. Many don't like it. When it was the Lord who warned his followers against this. It was the Lord who warned his followers about the dangers of being fruitless. So I think that we should embrace this message. We should embrace those who lovingly warn us to be genuine in our relationship with the Lord.